How's it going, fellow YouTubers? There's going to be no intro to this video as I haven't been making videos for you guys lately, and I wanted to apologize for that. But anyways, this is going to be a completely different video from what I've been doing with the normal metal stuff and whatnot. This is a hard video for me to make as it involves a lot of things with my past, why I've been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, aka PTSD, why I am now a night owl, and on top of that, why there are times I don't always look excited in my videos. So just be forewarned, this is a video that talks about my testimony and how over the years, I would say, I've been trying to overcome a lot of difficult things, and on top of that, this is a video that is going to be hard to listen to. Now, I will leave a link to the video in the end cards, hopefully, if you can see it at the end of this video, because you already know about my spiritual experiences. And this is another video where I will leave things out, as certain things I feel like are not appropriate to mention on YouTube. There are going to be some things I'm going to be mentioned. Now, when you hear the word insult, I don't want to talk about what I said to this individual and anything like that. But there were not only just one individual, but a couple of individuals involved with my past. If those of you who are watching this video and are from New Life, don't get me wrong, I know there are still good people in New Life, but there's a really good reason why I don't go to New Life anymore. So let's get started, shall we? So 10 years ago, 11, I think, I attended New Life Church, and it might now be coming up on 12 years ago now. But New Life Church has this thing called the Mill. And at the Mill, I met someone there. We'll call him Jerry. So I met Jerry at New Life. I knew him for a good 10 to 11 years. Right around there, I would say. I saw him as a good guy. I saw him as the type of guy who probably wouldn't even do wrong to anyone. Well, that all changed. So let me tell you what happened to me. I also knew another individual. We'll call him Ron. I knew Ron. He was a very good person at the Mill. Anyways, both Jerry and Ron are very important. Y'all know that I went to India for 2 months, right? I mean, it's mentioned in my spiritual experience video. And on top of that, this was a very big life changer for me, going out to India. Years passed, I meet Ron again at Target. He asked me how I was doing, and I told him I was doing good and whatnot. Then, for a couple of years, Ron had disappeared again. But then, while I was at New Life Church, I was invited to go to this small young adult church group that Ron had started. I didn't know Ron started it, but someone who attended that church group started. So when I entered that, I started to feel really sick, really feeling like everyone has started to be mean to me on the outside of the group. I didn't think it was that small group or church or whatever reason, but it was. People were acting offensive toward me during those times. To this day, I still believe Ron's a good guy. I mean, he never did anything wrong to me. I just think that the group was just in a spiritual state of a desert or the wilderness. It was an interesting group. I knew old friends, I met new friends, but I'm no longer in contact with those friends anymore because I think we just went our separate ways and left it at that. Throughout this, I was going to New Life Young Adults as well. It was another group at New Life Church here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, that it wasn't a bad group. It's just that this is where Jerry comes in. I tell Jerry, hey, I've known you. You're a godly man. You should really pray about starting your own Bible group, your own small group. And he prayed and he said, I'm going to start my own Bible group. And I told him, that's great. Now have the leaders pray over you. He did not. He signed up to start his own small group, and all the church thought it was a great idea. So I thought I should attend because at that time he's my friend. Now here comes the part where he's no longer my friend. And this is a story that I have told certain people a lot of times. I have not told other people it, but this is why I need to talk about this to you guys. And it's why certain situations can really affect your life if you're not careful. And I want to be very open toward you guys. And I want to let you know that you can learn from my experiences as well as what I went through. And so I go to Jerry's small group. It starts well at first. And on top of that, at first everything was going great. But then all of a sudden, what I said to the small group, so I didn't direct this remark at anyone. I didn't yell it at anyone. But I will agree it was not okay to say. So what I said was, you people pursuing your college degrees, I'm going to go join a union and do a trade. And it wasn't meant to offend anyone. It was just something like, put that out there, Then one of the girls in the Bible study literally screams at me, how dare you say that? Why are you here? And all that stuff. It was just so out of line what she did. And then I said, sorry, I didn't mean to offend you personally. That's just how I talk in shop class and in shops because I work in a shop. Didn't mean to offend you personally. And then she just looks at me and says, apology not accepted. And then I told her, okay, please be patient with me. I have Asperger's syndrome. And she then yells the insult, Asperger's syndrome doesn't excuse you. And I say, what? Now that would be like me saying you're not allowed to be part of this group. And then she was all like, well, I don't care. Then I just screamed at her an insult at the top of my lungs. Then what happened next is that I go to Jerry, right? That same small group leader I told you about. He said, I'm defending her. Asperger's syndrome doesn't excuse you. And once again, he yelled it at me. And then I told him, hey, stop, knock it off. Yeah, it was just really bad. In between that night, I leave the group the very next day because everyone got up in my face and decided to bully me. Just say, no, not let me speak at all. It was just so devastating to be bullied in that manner. And so I take it to the pastor. I had told him that I had been discriminated against. At least I believe I was discriminated against. It was just so painful to go through. So the pastor didn't like what happened. He said it was inappropriate, but he never did anything or took any measures to say that that was out of line. That was not okay for him to do. I'm going to go talk to him about that. He never talked to him. What he did was he said, you should go talk to him and confront him, telling you that those remarks offended you. And I told him that, well, I already did. And I was really offended. So what ended up happening was that I told him, okay, I'll go talk to him again. But if he does what he does to me again, there's going to be problems, right? He did to me what he did again. And during this whole time, I tell my parents, right? They were very offended and mad with him. And then I told him, if I recall right, I want to press charges against this guy. This is discrimination. It's a hate crime, essentially, what he's saying. What ended up happening was that there was some time went by, and the pastor was silent about it. So after that time went by, I emailed him asking him to talk about it, to what that guy did. And then the guy, apparently I lied to the pastor and said, "What? I didn't say anything offensive. I just said in context what she just said." It was just a devastating time, and it's just why the church needs to be really careful with stuff like this, especially when you have no support in stuff like this. It can really screw with you mentally. I mean, it can really mess with you mentally. So, and then some time goes by again. This is the part where I cannot tell you everything that happened, but it's how essentially I got arrested. So, years go by, December of 2018 hits. I had gotten a call from the police saying that Jerry's property got damaged, how there were hate slurs on his car, on his fence, on his garage, whatever. So I tell the police, "What? I don't know anything about this." And then Jerry and his roommates all accuse me of lying together at once. I tell the police, "Oh yeah? Well, did you know Jerry discriminated against me? Did you know that he bullied me, discriminated against me, and then promoted a certain sin in this small group?" Something I forgot to mention before, but did you know that he did all those things to me? Never told you that part of the story, right? He probably did it to other people, and they probably got offended with him. And so the police officer asks him, "Josh says you bullied him, discriminated against him, promoted insert sin here, and then lied about it to the pastor. Are you lying, Jerry?" And Jerry just kind of sighs and says, like, "Yes, it's true." They said, "We need to talk with Jerry." So they talked with Jerry. They talked with the girl who initially provoked the situation and started it. And she admitted that she bullied me. Jerry admitted that he bullied me as well. Then the police come over and decide to charge me with like trespassing, a couple of other charges. Yeah, this is why I think the police need more training. It's one of those deals where a lot of people say to me, "Well, no wonder why you got post-traumatic stress disorder, bro." I mean, that guy literally did you wrong. And so then court happens, right? And they told me how long I was going to serve. And I mean, to me, it was just so messed up. The whole thing was just so unfair and so wrong on the police's end, on Jerry's end, and on that girl's end, and even the pastor's end. That it was just, the whole thing was just messed up and so wrong. So court happens, and then they decide to put it through mediation and saw it as only a relative small thing. And once again, this is the part where I can tell you that I had to spend $3,000 on a lawyer, and which was better than paying even more fines and going to jail, right? But I mean, this is something I've been really struggling with over the years. The guy, Jerry, didn't even have to apologize for anything, which he should have. And this has just have been such a huge scar on my life. It's been, a lot of people just don't understand why I have flashbacks. They don't understand why I get angry. I have every right to be angry. So anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, mediation happens. Thank God for that mediator, because she stood up for me. She stood her neck up for me. She basically asked him, "Jerry, did you see him do it?" And then he said, "No." "Did any of your neighbors see him do it?" And then he said, "No." And then she asked him all these questions, and then he said, "No." And then she's like, "You've got no case, pal. You admitted to bullying Josh. You admitted to discriminating against him. You had no right to treat him that way in the first place. This is something that you need to take responsibility for. Josh is actually more innocent than you think he is, because of the fact that it's unfair for the police to do this to Josh. It was unfair for you to falsely accuse Josh of a crime, and on top of that, you knew it was wrong to treat Josh that way in the first place. Even the report says it was wrong for you to treat Josh in the first place. It was just something that he did was wrong. He even still refuses to apologize to this day. Jerry didn't apologize in mediation. He can lie to himself all he wants, but he didn't apologize. It was just something that happened to me that was very stressful. And let me tell you this. This is something that nobody should ever have to go through. But anyways, so what ends up happening was that I treated Jerry the same exact way he treated me. So I called him an insult repeatedly, and then I just yelled it at him, and then I smirked on my face saying, I don't need to apologize. I didn't offend you. And he got really upset. He told me, this is illegal. You can't do this to me. It's wrong. And then I told him, now put your feet in my shoes. That's how you treated me. That's what you did to me, essentially. So, yeah, this is why I believe the justice system is flawed, and this is why I believe the justice system needs to train their police officers better, because of this fact. Because of the fact that, the guy accusing you could have lied to all of his witnesses. The mediator stood up for me and told him that what he did was wrong. He's the one that should be in jail, not me. He's the one that needs to pay and have consequences for his behavior. To my friends from New Life who have been watching this, it's why you don't see that guy walking around in the back of the congregation anymore during worship. It's why you will not see me there ever again. And this is definitely something that I've been working on, because of the fact that I said to myself, what church can't run its small groups should I attend if even I'm not being treated fairly there? So thanks, guys. This was a really heavy topic for me to talk about. Hope you have a wonderful, blessed week.